Together.
Tune in to KBN every day at 2 o'clock. Kyle Brust and Nortman. 94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
It's time for the best 60 minutes of your life. This is the Homer Hour, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown.
B, what's the second hardest thing you've ever done in your life? Because ain't no way he's done anything any harder than being a basketball manager for Bob Knight in Indiana. Bryan Bulaga, can you imagine why any human would want that job?
That would be difficult. And obviously, Bob Knight, one of the greatest ever do it, had, from a coaching standpoint, you want to gain knowledge. But, man, I think if you took the wrong breath, you'd get yelled at and screamed at. At least that's what it appeared. So that would be a tough gig, in my opinion. It's almost like working for Belichick. I feel like that's like a tough gig, man. Like, just never know what could set him off, or, you walk down the hallway the wrong way. Maybe he doesn't like the way you walk.
Yeah.
And
it's even worse than that. It's even worse than that. You want to know how bad it is?
Yes.
I actually have a story.
Oh, good. I like stories.
Yes, and it's very similar to Dusty May. A kid, then he was a kid, by the name of Lawrence Frank. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
He went on to be a head coach in the NBA, and I think he was a general manager. Pebble, why don't you look up what Lawrence Frank is doing? Lawrence Frank might have been the head manager at Indiana for 4 years. After he graduates, he's trying to figure out what to do. Where does he go? He goes to Bob Knight's office, to which the secretary says Coach Knight is busy. He was busy all day. Lawrence Frank went back the next day. I don't know how many days he went, but he keeps going back. And Bob Knight would not talk to him, would not give him any time. In fact, it irritated Bob Knight so much, which, again, seems odd given that this kid had been a manager for 4 years. He calls up his friend Kevin O'Neill, who was then the coach at Marquette, and says, Kevin, can you help me out? Can you get rid of this damn kid? He's here every day. He won't go away. Kevin O'Neill says, we don't have any staff. He says, I don't care if you have staff. Just get him out of here. So Kevin O'Neill calls Lawrence Frank and says, come to Marquette, and you can help us with the team or whatever. They had no job. He lived on a cot with one of the other assistant coaches, and back then you didn't have 10. You had only a couple. And he did nothing. I haven't talked to him. I don't know what, get coffee for people.
Yeah, lived on a cot.
All he did was get away from Bob Knight, who didn't even tell him to come back. He had to ask a friend, and only Kevin O'Neill was crazy enough to do it. And then Lawrence Frank was on the staff at Marquette, and I don't know where he went. Then he went to then somebody got in the NBA. He was an assistant, I think, with the New Jersey Nets, and Jason Kidd liked him, so they made him the head coach. After that, he became GM. Have you looked up his Wikipedia page? But anyway, my point is, whatever you thought it was like to be a manager, basketball manager at Indiana, it's worse than you could ever think if the coach won't even talk to you when you're looking for a little help after you've finished being a manager for X number of years. So
yeah, tells you to get lost, pound sand.
I won't even go tell you that.
Yeah, won't even tell you that.
Won't come out. Now, I have been told by Tony Smith that I make up stories. this is possible. I made it up because I, of course, didn't witness that. But because here this kid shows up. Who's that? That's Lawrence Frank. What the hell is he doing here? I don't know. He just kind of hangs around. What does he do? We don't know. What does he do? We don't know. We don't know. So I don't know. At some point, someone got an answer from Kevin O'Neill. I guess what I should do is ask him, right? His version. I can get him on the show and ask him about that. His team, he was assistant at Arizona when he became head coach at Marquette in 1989, so I'm sure he's excited. Arizona is as good as it is. So with Kevin, you never know. He could have had a falling out. All right. Bryan Bulaga, and then Jason Woolley later on. I heard you discussing backup quarterbacks.
Yep.
What you didn't talk about was, in your time at Green Bay, give us your experience of backup quarterbacks. Do they ever do anything? Is there any way that you could ever know how good someone's going to be? Is it harder than people think? Tell us the big picture of backup quarterbacks and then any individual notes you would like to add.
Yeah, I mean, listen, as an offensive line and things like that, you don't know how good a backup quarterback's going to be until they actually get out there. Maybe the receivers, the way that he throws the ball to them, and things like that. Maybe
you get no idea from practice, or do they never practice?
Well, they take the scout team reps. They run the scout team, right? And the starting QB runs the first team offense.
So you're on the sidelines when they're doing their stuff against the defense. All right. And you're not really watching them, or you don't really even care, right? Or, I mean, you care. You're a nice person.
No, I'll be honest with this one. I don't care what's happening.
You got your own stuff to worry about with your unit.
We go once we get done off the field, we talk through what we just did, and we're discussing certain blitz pickups and checks and in and out. So I'm not really paying attention to the scout team offense operating, right? I'm not really paying too much attention to it. I know that sounds mean, but that's
no. You can use this because no one's going to think you're mean.
Yeah, I got other things at the time coming off the field from our team period that we need to talk over. We're trying to get ready for an opponent, and there's changes that get made, especially with Aaron. He'd come off from a team group, like a group period, against the scout team defense. Something he didn't like, a pickup that we didn't do well, or he wanted to change it. We would talk through that for the time we were waiting to go back on. So we were busy, we were just talking through stuff. It's not like we sat there and they pulled out lawn chairs for us and we drank some Gatorade and watched. We had things to discuss and go over things, but you don't really know. But the one thing you do know for sure as an offensive lineman, if a backup QB comes in, the snap count's going to be way different than it is with the starter. The cadence, the tempo, how fast it is, how slow it is.
I should know this. How often did a backup play for when you were there?
Well, Aaron broke his collarbone a couple of those times.
Mm-hmm.
Flynn, obviously, there were a couple Chicago games, and even against the Lions, and I think it was 2014, or maybe I forgot what year it was, that Aaron left and then came back in, and Flynn was there. But at that time, I knew Flynn's. He was the difference was Matt Flynn. Flynn was very good.
How quickly did you determine that after a couple plays?
Yeah. I mean, and the thing was he had been there for a while. Obviously, a lot of the guys were really good friends with him, and they had all the confidence in the world in him. It was just a matter of. For me, because I had never taken during camp when I was younger, I took snaps with them because I was on the twos. So I took snaps with them, but it's hard to tell how that's going to translate into a real game, right? You don't know how that's going to translate into a game. He can make the throws in practice and do all that for sure. But once you get out there and the lights are on, it's a little different. It's not the same, and there's a play clock, and you're checking in and out of plays, and you got to worry about blitz pickups and getting hit. It's a different feel to it, so to speak. But I picked up really quick, especially in 2011 when Flynn went in that Lions game and started that game and threw for 400-something plus yards.
Yeah, wait a minute. I could have played quarterback and done well on that team. Come on.
No.
Come on. No.
That team was great. Yeah.
And the wide receivers and everything. You know.
Of course, yes. The team was good, but you still have to.
All right.
You still have to complete the passes.
You
just can't chuck it up there and hope to God somebody comes down with it.
Well, you chuck it up with them. They're open and there's nobody else around them when you chuck it up.
Yes, there were a lot of guys.
I went too far. I needed a governor. Go back. I saw.
Yeah, but it's hard to tell throughout the week, right? Like if the backup's called upon, as Malik Willis was so many times this year in mid-game to go in, how that guy's going to perform, because you don't know a guy's study habits. Aaron played through so much injury in his time, and he still did last year.
Is the head coach as unaware of what's going to happen as you? Does he know any more, really?
I don't think so, because they don't know how the guy's going to react, right? Like if one thing goes wrong, is it going to spiral, or can he pull himself out of it, right? Like, but I feel like that's the case for any backup that goes in at any position. Really, for you look at offensive linemen and quarterbacks.
You weren't there when Aaron Rodgers was a backup.
No, I was not. So obviously, knowing how he prepared, he probably prepared like he was going to play every single game, if I had to take a guess. Right. But you don't know how guys prepare throughout the week, right? Like, backup quarterback for Aaron Rodgers, probably a 0.1% chance that I'm going to go in this game. That's the thought process, right? Like, Aaron's not coming out of the game. So you don't know how the guys are preparing, right? And then the chance that, hey, he tweaked his calf and he's got to go back into the locker room for whatever reason to get it checked out. Well, you could be in the game for 2 to 3 series, and a lot can happen in 2 to 3 series. And have you been prepping throughout the week for if this happened? And that's how you can tell if guys are mentally in it and they're there. They understand all the checks. Then you get to the line of scrimmage and you hear them making adjustments and doing things like that.
So can the backup quarterback get in there and go, guys, just so you know, I didn't do crap for prep. This guy's never hurt. He plays every game, but I kind of know what I'm doing. So let her fly.
I mean, never. It was never that.
Okay.
But
how good could they really be? They never did it.
I know.
All the garbage, all the stuff they're doing is the scout team.
Yes, I know. So you don't know if they're
unless Rodgers would make fun of you in the quarter. I don't know what it's like in the quarterback meeting room where if you aren't aware of what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know how that. I don't know.
Why would you waste time? But anyway, back up.
I don't know how they operated in that room. I know for a fact that if the backups in our room didn't know what was going on, they'd get ridiculed by us. So I would imagine it was probably the same.
Well, except you know that's different. Offensive linemen get hurt all the time. You play multiple positions. I don't know. Each game you go into, do you really think you need to have 6? I mean, you need to at least have 6. You probably need to. Most games go in thinking you need 7 offensive linemen that are ready, at least, right? Or not?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You have to go into it thinking backup swing tackle has to be ready and backup interior guy has to be ready. I mean, it just you have to have that mindset. But again, you don't know how guys are preparing mentally throughout the week with the game plan, with film study, things like that. Like, right, they get into the game, they're like, wait, what's this guy's best pass rush move? I totally forgot. Like, I blank. And then the first play, he goes out there and he hits him with a chop spin, and it's cooked, right? Like, it's like, all right, he didn't really dial in too much this week. But it was always funny with the backup quarterbacks because obviously, you know, it's a great gig to have if you're a backup to Aaron Rodgers because, I mean, it's like being a backup to Tom Brady. You're going to make good money, and you're not going to have to do much, right? Like, it's a great gig.
I want to play. Do you get to that point where you realize it's kind of iffy on that, and this is a pretty good gig?
I think it gets to the point where it's like it's a pretty good gig.
All right.
Right? Like, I mean, let's be real, though. Like, you take a job with the Green Bay Packers, and Aaron is your starting quarterback. Do you think you're going to play?
No. So and I'm worried he's going to be mean to me. That's the first thought I would have. If I'm going to back up to Aaron Rodgers, he's going going to be on my butt all the time for stuff
Well,
that it doesn't matter. But is that fair to Aaron, or would he not even waste time dealing with the backup?
He was normally the closest with all the backup guys.
Oh, he tried to help him and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. He was close with those guys.
I
And
apologize, Aaron. Not really, but maybe.
yeah, no, he was close with the backup guys always. At least from what I experienced,
Okay.
he was always close.
Well, no,
with them.
I've said this about him, that everybody should realize the vast majority of teammates like Aaron Rodgers as a teammate.
Yes.
There might be a receiver or two that stated otherwise, but overall, when you assess Aaron Rodgers, to be honest, you have to say the majority of his teammates liked him. Didn't just put up with him, they liked him. And we all want to know, isn't he crazy like he was? How could you like him? Because he was so good? I don't know. I'll defer to the players.
I mean, obviously his talent speaks for itself, but he just, to me, he was just a normal.
They liked him as a friend.
Yeah. Like he was. I mean, people could say what they want about his views on whatever. Like I could care. Like I don't really care if that offends people. That's like, okay, well, that's your prerogative. You can not like it, but like when you're sitting down at O-line dinner and you're just shooting the breeze and everyone's having a good time and talking and laughing and telling stories and doing things like that, like it's just guys getting together and having a good time and talking like that. And that was rinse and repeat weekly. And then you get into meeting rooms and he comes in, he starts busting everyone's balls and it's hilarious. Like it's just like, it's just from the outside view of it, you see some of the stories.
So
and
when
you
you
hear some of the
heard
reports.
stories about a player they didn't like or whatever, you just shake your head. I mean, it doesn't mean that doesn't exist, but it's not reflective of who or what he was as a teammate. He was like a really good teammate.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's why, like, any of the stories that come up, like, I mean, the most asked question I get is, how was it playing for Aaron? I go, it was great. It was great. Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's the first response. Oh, really? It's like, what? Why? Because you read an article on some website that said he was mean? Like, okay. Like, sweet. Like, that's really, really diving deep into that.
Well,
like,
no, I would say as a player, I can't speak for you because you're nice, but as a player who played with him, when someone did something like that told you more about that person than it told you about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's and the thing, I from a former player standpoint, who's gotten on him, I guess. Was it Greg? Maybe.
I think Jennings seemed like Driver a little bit. Maybe they didn't, or
maybe
or indirectly, they didn't throw him the ball. Didn't take care of his receivers enough. I will defer to somebody can send us, but Jennings I think would be at the top of the list.
Yeah, I mean that's, and I think, and I don't know because I was so young when Greg was there. I was in my first 2 years. I think there were contractual things also that led up to that as well, right? Like I just don't think it was just maybe Aaron, because man, my first year, Greg caught a lot of balls, man. I mean, I'll say Greg.
No, I would say from the outside, every receiver who played with him benefited, and he made them better than they were.
Yeah, I mean, he elevated everybody.
The only people who can complain were the offensive linemen. You're gonna hold the damn ball forever?
Well, yeah. If there's gonna be guys that have complaints, it was us.
Yes.
Like, you're gonna have a smoke and a coke back there, bud. Like, get rid of that thing. But no, I mean, again, that's another thing that you just adapt to and get used to.
Right, and you knew that better than most. While he had kept the ball forever, there's a better than normal chance that it'll end up okay.
Yes, you knew, like, okay, he's holding on to it for a reason. Like, normally it was for a reason, and the reason was he thought he could create something back there, and a guy would work open, and a lot of the times it did. Yeah. That's how it worked. So, you know, as stressful as it could have been at times, it's like, all right, like, you give him 4.5 seconds, chances are he's going to carve someone up, and that's what he did, like, all the time. So
stinks for me, but
yeah,
I'll live with it.
Exactly.
All right.
Hey, Lambeau Field's going to cheer after this, so that's good.
The Bryan Bulaga Homer Hour. Jason Wilde coming up a little later This, of course, is day 2 of my obsession with Marcus Johnson getting into the Basketball Hall of Fame. I already looked. I got to call George Karl. Got to call Peter Vesey. You have anybody in the basketball world? And if you would like to present your obsession, you don't have to. You might need a little time. Mine certainly also is Bob Harlan getting a statue in Green Bay that's larger than the other two in his plaza. But I think that one's very iffy. But the issue of Marcus Johnson getting into the Basketball Hall of Fame needs to be done. He was on the only one that was a finalist in the Veterans Committee, what they do with older players who didn't get in. And he still didn't get in. They don't have to pick one from each group. There are other groups. But, no, he's got I am obsessed with getting Marcus Johnson into the Basketball Hall of Fame, and I have no interest in talking to Marcus Johnson in terms of he doesn't need to know this is going on. I just hope that at this time next year, unlike this year, they'll say he finally got in. And I'm sure there are players that you played against you, and I just watched him, and he was a Hall of Fame player. You know one when you see one, maybe not a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he played at a level that Hall of Fame players play at. I have no idea why he hasn't gotten in yet. I don't care. The idea is to get him in now. So, day 2 of my obsession. Bryan Bulaga can add one if he wishes, but doesn't have to be tonight, because when you ask for an obsession, you really need to give someone a little time. Next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
4394 southbound, right about at Beecher. We do have the left lane blocked with a crash. Looks like someone rear-ended somebody else, and they are kind of wonky on the roadway there. So just be careful heading through there. Again, that's 4394 southbound at Beecher. That's backing things up, back in through the Marquette interchange to about Kilbourne. Also seeing delays southbound from about Capitol Drive down to North Avenue. Northbound, we're seeing backups from Fond du Lac Avenue up past North Avenue. We've still got that flooding, standing water on the roadway on 4394 northbound at Howard Avenue with the right lane blocked there. On northbound 41, heavy from Mayfair Road all the way past Burleigh. Eastbound 94 is backed up from 76th Street all the way to 35th. Westbound from 35th past Hawley Road. Planning a home project or need added flexibility? Tap into your home's value with a HELOC from Great Midwest Bank. Visit greatmidwestbank.com. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Don't miss a moment of the basketball tournament action this March at 3rd Street Market Hall. Home to your one-stop, must-stop viewing destination. 3rd Street Market Hall has over 20 locally owned food vendors, a 30 self-serve beer wall, over 50 HD TVs, plus game day specials. The perfect place to work remotely or catch a game between meetings or over lunch. 3rd Street Market Hall is your downtown home for basketball this March.
Feels like the world is a little broken lately. Maybe all we need is a fix. Most spirits are acidic. Fix Vodka is different. Fix Vodka is the world's first high-alkaline, acid-free vodka. Handcrafted with natural spring water and select grain. Clean, smooth, done right. Better water, better vodka. Get your local Fix.
Fix Vodka.
Enjoy responsibly.
April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and you can take action locally. Join La Causa on April 13th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at Blue Tender, a special fundraising event at Blue at the Pfister, supporting La Causa's Crisis Nursery, southeastern Wisconsin's only shelter providing emergency care for children in crisis. Enjoy a night out while giving back, with 100% of tips and 10% of bar sales donated, and all proceeds matched. Make your impact go twice as far. Visit lacausa.org for details.
There's nothing like Milwaukee Bucks basketball at Fiserv Forum. The dunks, the defense, the roar of 17,000 fans. It's even better when you're with friends or family. From jaw-dropping plays to buzzer-beating threes, every game is packed with unforgettable moments that you'll get to share together. So gather your crew and get your single game tickets today at bucks.com/single. That's bucks.com/single.
Hi, this is Mike from Infinity Exteriors. Most contractors cut corners and disappear when there's a problem. Not us. Since 1997, we've completed over 60,000 projects, earned thousands of 5-star reviews, and were named 2025 Roofing Magazine Contractor of the Year. We set the standard for exterior remodeling. Trusted by homeowners, proven every single day. We're excited to show you why choosing Infinity means peace of mind. Visit infinityexteriors.com to see why your neighbors trust Infinity.
Hey fans, John Kuhn here, team captain of the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and there's a reason it's considered the Midwest premier place to bet on all your favorite sports. The full bar, awesome dining, 2,000 square foot screen, and nearly 100 betting kiosks makes for an unbeatable playbook. Bet above the rest, only at Potawatomi Sportsbook in Milwaukee. More info online. Must be 21 to enter casino.
This is the Homer Hour on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Fisco Auto Body, I tell you about them so you'll like me. Here's how it works. Fisco Auto Body on Forest Home in Franklin. If you know about them, you're already there and you love it. If you don't know about them yet, you'll get there. On Forest Home in Franklin, it's a family business owned since 1931. It's not what they do, it's who they are. And they still own the business. So that means Fiscos are still working on your car. Imagine how long they've been working on, and that's why they're that good. Expert workmanship guaranteed for the life of your vehicle. Any damage, Fisco has you covered. Fisco Auto Body on Forest Home in Franklin. You'll thank them, and eventually one day you go, damn, I kind of owe Homer. He's the one who told me about it. I like that. Fisco, 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 so you remember the name. The Bryan Bulaga Homer Hour, discussing backup quarterbacks. Pebble, we got a question up for him, right?
I'm putting it up right now at the Homer Hour on Twitter. We can go take the poll. Homer says there's no chance that the Packers will have
0%.
Will have a good as of a backup quarterback this year as Malik Willis was. Agree or disagree? Go take
last
that poll
year,
right
as
now.
he was last year.
Last year.
Because I think that's key. Because we saw at the very end that LaFleur let him do everything. He made all the plays that they would have used with Jordan Love, and he made them well. And he ran better than Jordan Love. He played, and very short. But he played as well as Jordan Love has ever played. How about that? I don't know. I think maybe Bryan Bulaga is going to want to give me a governor on that. But
listen, I don't know if I'm going to go as far as that, but I certainly will say, from a backup point of view and how he played, obviously he earned himself a huge contract, right? Because of how he played.
Right.
And he's going to get
not as good as Jordan Love. That's not what I said. He is not as good as Jordan Love, but you could still have a game as good and play it as well as Jordan Love.
Yes, of course you could do that. And he played phenomenally. And like my answer to that is no, I don't think you continue to find lightning in a bottle like that. Like I just don't think it's possible for how good he played and how he ran the offense. Like the guy looked like he was the starter and he'd been there forever, and he just ran the offense great. And then when he first got in there 2 years ago, and they changed the entire offense from when he had only been there for like 2 weeks, he played great again. So like look at his 2 years. 2 years and the body of work that he put out there being a backup. I mean, it's awfully impressive. And, like, I just don't think you can find that again. Like, that's very hard to do. Now, hey, maybe the backup QB program in Green Bay is just a, QB whisperer, and they develop these guys and they end up being that good.
A backup whisperer. Yeah, it could be. But I would say even if they make another good move, this was also not the first game or year that Willis was around, so that's the other benefit.
Yes,
you're not going to have that.
No, you won't have that, and obviously he'd had a lot of starting experience, and I guess that's who they have right now, right? Isn't it Ritter? Didn't he have a bunch of starts in Arizona?
Yeah, I'm proud to say I don't know anything about him.
Well, I get that, but
yes, I believe your answer is correct. I know he played at Cincinnati with the current head coach at Wisconsin, I think. And yes, I probably should learn more. I'll learn more. And this is one area where we don't know the particulars, but you got to give Goody and LaFleur, I'm assuming both, an A for what they did. And so if there is a level of expectation that's high, it could be because of what they did. However they did it, do it the same way again.
Yeah, rinse and repeat that cycle.
And I don't know the answer
really
to how,
good.
but
well, identifying Willis like that and thinking, and obviously his game was not fit to the way Green Bay played. And the guy came in, he learned it. Yeah, they adjusted things when he first had to go in and start that first year and things like that. But like you said, by the end of it, he was running the offense as it was his, and it was the same exact offense that Jordan was running, and he made it look really good. So, whatever that magic potion is,
do it again.
Do it again.
And I don't know if they'll tell us the truth, but if he's the same, or maybe I don't know how highly they thought of Willis at the beginning. But yes, the best thing about the backup quarterback this year is that the same two guys that are using this guy are the guys that created and brought in Malik Willis, and that's pretty good on the backup quarterback resume. Jason Wilde coming up soon. Not next. I am next.
The Homer Hour is back after this on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
4394 southbound, right about at Beecher. We do have the left lane blocked with a crash. Looks like someone rear-ended somebody else, and they are kind of wonky on the roadway there. So just be careful heading through there. Again, that's 4394 southbound at Beecher. That's backing things up, back in through the Marquette interchange to about Kilbourne. Also seeing delays southbound from about Capitol Drive down to North Avenue. Northbound, we're seeing backups from Fond du Lac Avenue up past North Avenue. We've still got that flooding, standing water on the roadway on 4394 northbound at Howard Avenue with the right lane blocked there. On northbound 41, heavy from Mayfair Road all the way past Burleigh. Eastbound 94 is backed up from 76th Street all the way to 35th. Westbound from 35th past Hawley Road. Planning a home project or need added flexibility? Tap into your home's value with a HELOC from Great Midwest Bank. Visit greatmidwestbank.com. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings. Discount liquor. If it's a celebrate or tailgate when you're gonna recreate upstate. If it's a holiday, birthday, any date, you can save at Discount Liquor.
Easter's almost here. What are you bringing to the table? Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor. Pairing the right wine with your Easter dinner can turn a meal into a celebration. But you don't have to be an expert to find the right wine. That's what our knowledgeable staff is here for. With over 8,000 varieties of wine, Discount Liquor can help you choose between a light, fruity Pinot Grigio, a big, luscious Cabernet, or anything in between, all at the lowest prices in town. Visit us today at 51st in Oklahoma and Milwaukee, and on Barstow and Maine in downtown Waukesha.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings.
Check out all of our weekly specials at discountliquorinc.com. Happy Easter.
Discount Liquor.
Homer here for Window Nation. Spring has arrived and it'll be a great time to open your windows and... Wait, your windows won't open easily? They leak when it rains? They have cracked glass? They need repainting again? It's time to talk with the pros at Window Nation and put an end to your window problems. Getting top quality custom fit windows from Window Nation, easy and affordable. Right now, during the More You Buy, the More You Save sale, save up to 50% off all your windows. Plus, you could get them with 0% interest financing for 5 years. As a proud partner of the Milwaukee Brewers, book a consultation and ask how you could score a pair of Brewers tickets. During uncertain times, one of the best investments you can make is your home. Experts report that windows retain 80% of their value. With Window Nation, you'll get windows that easily slide open and close, won't leak when it's rainy or windy, and are maintenance-free. Put an end to your window problems now. Save big with Window Nations. The more you buy, the more you save. Visit windownation.com to book a consultation.
Looking for a dinner that actually impresses and cocktails that keep the conversation going? Head to the second floor of St. Kate the Arts Hotel and discover the Studio Kitchen and Cocktails. Bold, elevated dinners, thoughtfully crafted cocktails, It's the kind of place where every plate and every pour is made with intention. Come for dinner, stay for another round. The Studio Kitchen and Cocktails on the second floor at St. Kate the Arts Hotel.
At Associated Bank, we know it's not always fun thinking about saving. You know what is fun? Not thinking about it. That's why we call it automated savings. You save automatically. How much you want, how often you want, for whatever you want. And if you don't know how much to save, well, that's why we're here. We'll suggest an amount so you hit your target without ever thinking about it. See, saving can be fun, especially when it's automatic. At Associated Bank, we get you. That's why we've got you. Learn more at associatedbank.com/YouGotThis. Member FDIC.
You're listening to the Homer Hour on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Wherever or whenever you're listening, you know we're live on YouTube as well. More and more people going YouTube. They want to see us, not just listen to us. Don't ask me why, I don't know. You can watch the show, see what's happening in the studio, and comment along with us. Just search ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube and subscribe today. And yes, on YouTube, we say, you got any questions? Yeah, how about this? The locker room is still going to be a problem this year. LaFleur has to nip it in early or it repeats another wasted season. I don't think the locker room was an issue yet last year, but I don't know. I wouldn't really know. I just know they made some observation, or LaFleur did, based on something recently. But I would ask you, when there's a bad locker room, doesn't it usually surface until 3 months after the season is over or something?
Yeah, I think it would get out earlier than that.
Do you ever have a bad locker room? You don't have to tell me the year of the team.
No, I don't recall.
Come on, in high school?
No, I mean, in high school,
I don't know. I was never in a football locker room. I don't know.
No, I mean, I never had a bad locker room. Okay. I mean, it's always been pretty good.
All right.
At least from what I recall.
So do you believe this premise? I'll read it again. This locker room is still going to be a problem this year. LaFleur has to nip it, but early, or it repeats another wasted season. Take that however you wish.
Well, I think his statements at the coaches' breakfast or whatever that was, like, obviously that was a little warning shot about expectations this year, and that if there was a distraction, it's not going to happen again. And I think it's up to Matt to nip it in the butt, but at the end of the day, the players have to self-police that in the locker room. The leaders of the team have to police that and keep the tranquility in the locker room for the sake of everybody. Like, they have to do that. Like, that's up to the top tier guys to make sure that all is well in there. Like, that's the most sacred part of the building is the locker room, and you got to make sure that's a good environment. So if there were guys that were unhappy and were causing issues in there, like, that needs to be handled. So, like, yeah, LaFleur he essentially did by firing out that warning shot during that little presser he did, or interview, whatever.
What do you think was his knowledge of it during the season?
Oh, see, that's hard. My guess would be he probably would have found out maybe a little bit later in the season, probably not as it was brewing. Because not all guys are, I would imagine, are outwardly saying things and making it, but maybe they're saying it to one or two guys, and then, that festers because they're buddies with them, and that festers up and kind of goes from two guys, and maybe three or four start hearing talks and whispers, and then it gets back up to him. So I can't even speculate when he would have known about it.
How much is a locker room, if there's a problem, on the leaders of that team, or is that even realistic to say they can straighten it out or go over and talk to the players? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think that's who controls the locker room, or the leaders of the team. Like, it's up to those guys, that, like I said, to make sure that room is in good spirits and it's on a good path. Like, right? Because obviously, the coaches and all them that, they're up on the third floor doing their work, and the guys in the locker room. I mean, like that's our space. Or, I mean, when I was a player, it's our space, and it's up to us to make sure that that thing is functioning properly. And it's up to the guys that have the most pull, if there is an issue, to go over and handle that, talk to them, because most likely they're the only ones that, can help make a change if something needs to get made by going up and speaking to the coach.
All right.
Right?
Yeah. Jason Wilde now. Next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app. All day, every day. The Cardless talk and text line is open for you.
We're not trying to get from A to B. We're trying to get from A to SB, as in the Super Bowl.
800-990-3776. The Cardless talk and text line. This is more. Stay up to date on the Green and Gold all off season. The Green and Gold Fix podcast is brought to you by Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Luxury stay, elite play, unwind in sophisticated comfort. Win big, dine, and experience the events in Milwaukee.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat with Freddie Coleman.
Golfing great Tiger Woods says he is stepping away for a period of time to seek treatment and focus on his health. He put in a statement yesterday, 4 days after he was arrested on suspicion of DUI and refusal to submit to a lawful test, stemming from a rollover crash in Florida, with this statement, and I quote, "I know and understand the seriousness of the situation I find myself in today. I am stepping away for a period of time to seek treatment and focus on my health. This is necessary in order for me to prioritize my well-being and work toward lasting recovery," end quote. He also said he's going to be committed to return healthier, stronger, and a more focused place, both personally and professionally. The professional, that should not be a consideration, in my opinion. It's all about Tiger Woods being a better person going forward and a healthier person going forward. Whatever golf is going to be, whatever his golf is going to be. But it's more important for Tiger Woods to be the best Tiger Woods he can be, and golf can't be a reason why he wants to be a better Tiger Woods going forward. In 60 seconds, the NFL, oh boy, they have not ruined their game, huh?
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Smalls here. What if you could enjoy the flavor of a cocktail without the alcohol? Meet RK Zero Proof, a pioneer in the alcohol-free spirits category that delivers bold taste and a warming sensation, but with zero alcohol, zero sugar, zero carbs, and zero calories. So you can celebrate with friends, unwind after a long day, and wake up tomorrow feeling great. It's all the ritual of a drink without the regret. Discover RK at rkbeverages.com. That's ARKAY beverages.com. RK, the spirit without the alcohol.
People are wondering, when is it going to be too much NFL? They're determined, meaning the owners of the NFL, to have an 18-game regular season. It can be an if right now, but that's going to be a when, not an if. And many people raising that whole conversation, safety for the players, too much football, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, here's why the NFL doesn't believe it, and has everything to do with college basketball and all the other sports. They see the ratings increases, what we've seen from just about every sport. College basketball, also hockey, the Olympics. And the NFL's like, look, we're the biggest, baddest sport going, maybe in the entire world compared to other places. Why we not continue to put our product out there when people have told them they want more of the National Football League on any day possible? So, yeah, they can talk about safety of the players, but no one's going to complain watching more NFL football. And you know who knows that more than anybody else? The NFL. For the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Freddie Coleman of ESPN Radio's Freddie and Harry.
It's Mike with Infinity Exteriors. I've seen it all, Wisconsin. Sketchy sales gimmicks for low-quality windows, siding that costs more than a new home, fly-by-night roofers. 60,000 happy customers made a better choice. Infinity Exteriors roofing, siding, and windows all come with our lifetime workmanship warranty, no overcharges, and transparent pricing. At Infinity Exteriors, we're on a mission to save our communities from unscrupulous contractors. Visit infinityexteriors.com.
Welcome back to the Homer Hour on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app. It's time for Jason Wilde on the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
Yes, Jason Wilde on the Yingling Hotline, our special guest with Bryan Bulaga. Take it away, Doc.
Jason, how we doing?
I could not be better. First high school soccer game for Sydney. She's a captain. She scored a goal, and the Jaguars won 3-0. So thanks for letting me move back so I could see the entirety of the game.
Excellent. That's great. So on Wednesday, you mentioned something that you wanted to talk to me about Jordan Morgan and arm length, and Joe Thomas commented on it when he hosted with you guys. So let's get into that, because that was a knock on me coming into the league. So I think I'm qualified enough to answer a question or hear a debate about it or whatever it is being talked about with Jordan Morgan.
Yeah, it's not a debate. It's a disease, and you were afflicted with it, and yet you built a fantastic NFL career. And the reason why I brought it up with Joe, and the reason why I wanted to bring it up with you, is because you and I agree that Jordan Morgan holds the key to that offensive line being not just good enough, but really good if they want it to be and if they have hopes of it being. And, you watch the film with a much more educated, critical eye than I do, because you played the game. But I watched him in Minnesota, and I didn't think very highly of his performance against a scheme that they're going to see when the games count, unlike that one, which really didn't count for much. And I've just seen him be inconsistent, and I have never subscribed to the short arm theory. I've always believed that it's all about, you can measure the guy's arms, you can't measure the guy's heart. And guys like you and Joe are proof that it really doesn't matter. But I'm wondering, having received that knock yourself, what you did, if anything, to combat that argument against you being successful.
Yeah, obviously it was when I got that knock on me, it was the first time I ever even heard of anything like that when I was going through the draft process. Like, when I heard that was the knock on me, I was like, what does that mean? Like, my arms are short. What does that even, I don't understand. But obviously then you start to hear about it, how you need an X amount arm length to be a successful tackle in the NFL. It needs to be 34 or longer and things like that. Obviously that there's guys that you play against that are absolute freak shows with huge wingspans. Daniil Hunter was one of them. Julius is one of them. Things like that. And yeah, if you don't have a longer reach than them, you're able to tell, and you have to change your style up. And what I mean by that is you have to be very patient with your hands and where you place them and when you place them, right? Like, you just can't throw out a punch or a single hand, because it'll get swatted down really quick and they'll have an edge or something like that. So you have to be very detailed in technique. And that was something that I learned really quick in my time, not just going because guys had superior arm length or anything like that, but just going against Clay every day. And I don't know what Clay's wingspan was. I guess I never asked him, didn't really care to. But I noticed quick that if you are lazy with your hands and you just kind of put them out there, they're going to get swatted down really quick. So I had to be very intentional with how I punched, or if I single hand punched or flashed my hand out there to get to bait defensive linemen so that they would throw their hand, that I could get my hand underneath their shoulder pad and bring them in tighter to me, so that became more of a, if there was issue about length, that battle happened closer to me than it would further away, right? They couldn't get to me from further away. So to me, it just, like you said, it comes down, or I believe you said, it's a technique and, fundamental type game, if that's what you're dealing with. And to me, that's what I always looked at it with, being very detail oriented when it came to my fundamentals and when I would do those things. So I don't know what Jordan Morgan's arm length is. I mean, is it short? Is it long? I have no idea. I mean,
So it is short. In fact, it's and let me pull it up here because I had his combine measurements when I was talking to Joe. But let me ask you this question while I'm looking it up. What was it a motivator for you? Were you motivated by that? That he was 32 7/8 was what his arms measured at, which is I believe even shorter than yours, my friend.
Correct.
Was that
Correct.
a motivator for you?
Yeah, well, it kind of bothered me because like, hey man, like there's tape of me blocking guys in college. Like I don't understand if we're watching tape and we're breaking guys down and we're being detailed about it. Like there's tape on it there. So yeah, it bothered me a little bit.
When did you first learn that it was a problem?
Probably like a month before the combine. It started like there was chatter. I forgot it. Maybe it was Kuiper. I forgot who it was. He's got short arms, and I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, I don't understand what that means. Like, I was like, what's considered short arms? I don't know. And then I did a little research on it, and there it was. Like, you need to have 34-inch arms to play length arms to play tackle in the NFL. So yeah, it bothered me a little bit. So I'm like, well, what's the point of even playing college football and putting good tape on there and being a good tackle if it doesn't matter if your arms aren't 34 inches or longer? What does it even matter? Like, so yeah, it bothered me a little bit. So like, yeah, like it was one of those things like, okay, well, it's not like I'm out here to prove Mel Kiper wrong, but like, it's just like that, if that is the dark cloud hanging over my head is that, like, yeah, I think I could beat that narrative pretty quick by just doing what I need to do and play well with good technique. And that's the way I approached it. But for Jordan Morgan, like 32 3/4 or 7/8 or 5/8, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. If that's an issue for him, right? If he finds himself struggling getting his hands on guys, he's got to find a way to be more patient with his hands, and when he throws his hands, and learn flash techniques and bait defensive linemen and put his hand out there like he's going to punch them, pull it back quick, allow them to show their move, and then get your hand in there quick and take your space back. So there's things he can do to combat that, but that takes repetition. Like, you have to get comfortable doing that. It took me time to get comfortable flashing a hand, because if you flash a hand and they go straight into power, you have to be able to, accept that power and maybe take one on the chin and be able to regather yourself and get your hands back in and fight that. And to me, that's been Jordan Morgan's problem, is handling power. It hasn't really been with speed or anything like that. I don't think that's his. I don't think
he's strong enough. Tell me where I'm wrong. I think it's that simple. I don't think he's strong enough.
That's the weakness I see in his game, is handling power. And when you struggle handling power, then handling speed becomes an issue, because you're sitting on power and you're not able to adjust to speed getting thrown at you. So, like, for me, yeah, like if he takes care of what he needs to take care of this offseason in the strength department and really focuses on that, it all comes together, because then he's not concerned about a guy turning a quick speed to power move into him, and he's able to adjust on it, sit on it, get his hands in it, and get the, stop the rusher cold. Like, when there's a deficiency in the power department, it always shows up in the speed department, because you're anchoring early. And as Tosh always says, your feet are in concrete, and that's kind of what happens when you struggle with power, is you sit on that. You expect it because that's your deficiency and you're protecting against it, and guys go around you. They bait you into a power move and they hit you with speed. So if he works on that part of his overall game, that'll be huge for him, because I think that also solves the short arms or whatever it may be. Like, I think that solves that, because he's more confident with his overall technique and where he is as a player.
Last thing, and then if we want to get to anything else before we run out of show. It all worked out great. Like, Homer and I are thrilled to have you as a teammate. I loved covering you. You had a great career. I'm in the parking lot of Lambeau Field right now. Do you go higher than you went if your arms aren't allegedly short? I think it's probably a no-brainer that you go higher than you did.
Hindsight, maybe, yeah. I probably do if I have 34.5-inch wingspan or length arms. I probably go higher. If I had to take a guess, because I think it is truly as stupid as I think it is. I think it is. Teams still look at that and red flag it. I really do.
You've clearly moved on.
Yeah, no, but I think it's dumb that it gets talked about. Like, he had Joe Thomas on. Joe Thomas had short arms. The guy's in the Hall of Fame. Like, he's one of the best tackles to ever play. Like, literally ever play the game of football. Joe Thomas had short arms or whatever they were. I don't even know I think they were like 33 1/4 or whatever it may be. I don't even know. But he's one of the best tackles to ever do it. Why? Because Joe had amazing feet. He had great technique, and he could stop power rushes. So he was able to allow guys to get close to him, get his hands in on guys, and then his feet took care of the rest. Like, it's not like it's something that you can't just you can't deal with it. A guy can't do it. He doesn't have 34-inch arms. Like, it's just a dumb like notion that's even out there still. I mean, at least in my opinion. Now, if those deficiencies show up on your college tape, right? Like, hey, even in college, guys are getting on him and he can't stop power because they're long-armed him and he can't get their arm off and he doesn't have the technique to chop down and lift and do things like that, then I get it. But if the guy's successful in college and then he goes to the combine and they're under 34, then you red flag him.
All right, we've run out of time other than for me to ask Brian, will you ever get over it?
Yeah, I'm over and out because, like,
clearly.
He's over it.
Yeah, Jason, we'll let you vote on it. We'll have a Discount Liquor Twitter poll question. If you listen to the show, do you think Bryan Bulaga is over it? Hey, you want us to do that, Brian?
He only talked about it because I asked him.
Okay. Thanks to you both. Tune in to the new season of Behind the Bucks podcast on the Bucks Plus Audio Network, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Bucks versus the world. Historic. Narrated by comedian Charlie Barron's untold story of the '87 McDonald's Open when the Bucks became the first NBA team to take on the best national team in the world, the Soviet Union, and they were good. Find Behind the Bucks on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the new ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get your podcast. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher. Has Bryan Bulaga moved on? What a question. Next.
Yeah, we still have issues going on right now. We've got the flooding on the roadway on 4394 northbound at Howard Avenue with the right lane blocked. That accident on southbound 4394 at Beecher still has that left lane blocked, although they did take the vehicles away, so the squads are still on the scene there. Delays southbound from basically before Capitol Drive down to North and then right through the Marquette to the accident scene. Westbound 94 heavy from about 27th Street all the way to Mitchell Boulevard. Eastbound's backed up from Hawley Road all the way to 27th Street. Northbound 41 has got backups basically from North Avenue up to about Burleigh. And then on eastbound 894 out of the Hale interchange all the way to Loomis. Traffic is brought to you by the Neal Group. John Neal and his team know how to minimize your taxes to keep more money in your pocket. Visit nealgroup.net to learn more. That's nealgroup.net. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, showers and storms ending, mostly cloudy and breezy, a low of 40. Tomorrow becoming sunny, afternoon lake breeze with the high of 50. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Homer here for Window Nation. Spring has arrived and it'll be a great time to open your windows and... Wait, your windows won't open easily? They leak when it rains? They have cracked glass? They need repainting again? It's time to talk with the pros at Window Nation and put an end to your window problems. Getting top quality custom fit windows from Window Nation, easy and affordable. Right now, during the More You Buy, the More You Save sale, save up to 50% off all your windows. Plus, you could get them with 0% interest financing for 5 years. As a proud partner of the Milwaukee Brewers, book a consultation and ask how you could score a pair of Brewers tickets during uncertain times, one of the best investments you can make is your home. Experts report that windows retain 80% of their value. With Window Nation, you'll get windows that easily slide open and close, won't leak when it's rainy or windy, and are maintenance-free. Put an end to your window problems now. Save big with Window Nations. The more you buy, the more you save. Visit windownation.com to book a consultation.
Hey, this is Gabe Neitzel. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
From the biggest stages in golf.
64-foot, 5-inch putt to win his first major championship. That was storybook stuff, Gabe.
To the courses right here in Wisconsin.
Made sure we had plenty of chicken salad.
She gave me a member's service.
She most certainly did.
Salad.
Again, the guy at the front gate thought you were an employee. Maybe she thought you were an employee out here playing as well.
We're talking majors, tour drama, and the rounds we wish we didn't have to post. This is On the Tee, alongside PGA Tour Live Stephen Watson. Here's Gabe Neitzel.
So many things we want to dive into, and we are, I promise you, at some point we are going to have fun on today's edition of On the Tee. Gary Woodland is as good of a story as I think you can get on the PGA Tour. Of course, Augusta is right around the corner. Your boys not going together, but going separately. So we'll dive into that because that's going to be a good time.
Holy cow! I can't believe we're doing it.
we're somehow pulling this thing off. But where we have to unfortunately start, it's the biggest thing in any time this individual does something. It's the biggest thing in the sport because despite not being a real competitor since a previous accident in 2021. He is still the needle when it comes to the world of professional golf. And, of course, we're talking about Tiger Woods' most recent incident. And there have been more details through the police report that came out earlier on Tuesday that shine, I guess, some light on it. Not really. Just kind of the excuses, I guess, from Tiger Woods of why he would have clipped a truck that had a pressure washer that it was hauling, resulting in his car tumbling and flipping on its side and skidding down the road, saying that he was looking at his cell phone, he was changing the radio station in his SUV, which caused him not to see the truck slowing down, and I said this when I was doing some shows over the weekend, Stephen, that best case scenario, that even if he wasn't under the influence of prescription medication, which when he was asked what he was taking, he told the authorities that was redacted. The prescriptions that he has, those were redacted out of the police report that were released on Tuesday. But the best case scenario is this guy was going an incredibly high speed in a residential area. That's the best case scenario. And that's still not great. And that's still not very good. And
a problem that continues to surface.
Correct. And I look around, I don't know if looking at this police report, if this is going to be the Tiger Woods, I'm assuming this is going to be the stance of the Tiger Woods camp. Previously, after the single car rollover that happened in 2021, he was asked about it one time, and he just said, everything you need to know is in the police report, which wasn't true, but he wasn't pushed back on it. And It felt like, for the first time in a long time, a lot of people in golf were questioning, hey, does he need help, A? And B, do we have to take some things off of his plate in order for him to take time away and get that help?
I think the easy thing is 2 yeses to both of those questions that you proposed. When I heard about this, again, I was flooded with a ton of different emotions. The first emotion was anger because of how dangerous of a situation he put himself in and other people.
To me, that is a huge key of this because we know Tiger loves his privacy. His yacht is named Privacy, after all.
Yeah.
But when you're doing what he has been doing on public roads, you lose some of that right to privacy.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no excuse for driving that fast. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Tiger Woods or if you're Joe Schmo from McGuanago. It's there's no reason to put yourself and others in danger like that, medicated or not, under the influence of anything or not. There's just absolutely no reason for that. So that made me angry. Sadness was an emotion that I felt because we find ourselves in this position again for somebody who's been in the public spotlight and somebody we've built up to know that I think he's deeply hurting. And I think that he has a problem that he hasn't been able to fully admit to. And I'm sad for his camp. I'm sad for his children. I'm sad for the people around him that still have not been able to get under his skin enough to help him get through these struggles.
It's such a complicated thing. I think with the emotions that you're feeling, I think they're all fair. Because I think it is, to me, it's a sadness and a frustration that I'm with you there. But I still have, and again, we are Tiger Woods fans. Like, I have been the biggest Tiger fan for as long as I can remember. But that doesn't mean you can't be disappointed in the guy, angry, upset with the guy. But there's no excuse for doing what he did. There's no excuse. Like you said, whether he was under the influence or not, there's no excuse for that. And I don't excuse that behavior. I don't feel sympathy for him in that situation. What I do feel sympathy for is this guy's had how many? 7 surgeries on his back? How many different surgeries on his leg that he almost lost? Granted, through his own fault.
Yeah, for the same reasons we find ourselves talking right now.
But what he has to go through just to manage the pain that he has over the surgeries, I can sympathize with that. Trying to walk the fine line of managing that pain and yet not overdoing it, right? And not overdoing it and having that pain medication take over and be a bit, I have sympathy for that in that situation. And I think he probably needs some help. It seems like he's not going to willingly admit that he has a problem based on this police report that came out on Tuesday. And I don't know, I don't think there's anybody in his camp, Stephen, that can tell him outside of 2 people. And I don't want to put it on those 2 people to say, hey, maybe you've got a problem. We got to figure this out. And that's his kids. Those might be the only people he might listen to, because this is somebody who, when people have stepped out of line, in his mind, he has cut them off. Whether that was Marco Mira back in the 90s and early 2000s, who he felt like spoke out of turn.
Yeah.
Whether that was his former coach in Butch Harmon, former coach as well in Hank Haney. I think he's kind of repaired the relationship a little bit with Harmon. His former caddy, who used to be his best friend.
Yep.
In Steve